What's up, demons and demonettes? Tis I, Traxy Demon Queen, and today we're gonna do a game 2, a post-analysis of Clashfronts. But before we get into it, as always, toss a like and subscribe down below. Alright, so for us, we had the advantage. We were the strongest guild here. So as you can see, things went fairly well. If we look at the game rankings, as you can see, we did score a 41-33. So we easily outscored a second and third. No alliances this time around. Somehow what happened was a second and third kept kind of going at it and going back and forth. Number 4 was a fairly on the weaker side, and so we were able to easily dominate. So one of the things you may be worried about now, as we condensed down, is right. You went from, I think it was epic to elite, and now you're going to a legendary, and you get promoted right to exalted, right? So here we go. We're number 1 for exalted, right? But with going up the ladder, shall we say, you're going to fight tougher and tougher guilds, because in theory, these guilds either got there by their own power or by forming a strategic alliance. So they may have allied in the previous round, which means they're likely to ally in a second round. Now for our side, nobody approached us with an alliance. I'm not going to approach anybody else with an alliance, as we are the strongest guild. So let's kind of go around by around, and we're going to take a look at what happened. Alright, so by gauging our opponent's strength, right, we kind of fought Arc before, so all 3 guilds were kind of around, I would say, the same strength power base wise. You can always just go again into Guild Supremacy, look up their guilds, and just kind of see what they have account wise. Right, so as you can see, we were able to put our 15 squads to the side here and use 85 here to easily dominate and control this tile, because again, we had our 2 biggest accounts on this tile, which gave us a huge advantage, because just going up against my account at 73 or Levy's account here at 71 is going to be a challenge for most players, at least in our district, right? So we're able to easily grab this. What we could do is, right, so we could see that Umbrella overpowered Try Gaming here, right? They were a bit stronger. They went for a slightly different mix, and yeah, they went here. They maybe could have gone with a few extra squads here, but probably not. They probably still would have lost and then got nothing there. So they didn't have full deploy. That wasn't working in their favor. Again, if we look at Arc, I don't think they had full deploy either. So again, just by having everyone deploy, you get an advantage, especially if other guilds are having issues coordinating everybody and getting everybody to deploy. Right now, we were in the previous round with Arc, so they make kind of gauge and guess what we're going to do and be able to use that to take advantage of, to steal tiles from us, or know what to defend and maybe how to move around. So we have to kind of like shake things up and be a little bit more unpredictable, maybe make moves earlier than we would make, maybe make completely different moves. Alright, so let's talk about round 2. Alright, so as you can see, we grabbed this square. Again, we have big power base, so I said, hey, I think maybe this guild here is probably gonna tone down what they leave to defend here. So I think with minimal squads, we can go in and take it. Well, we go in with 5. I send in my second strongest Vanguard right here, and you can see even my Vanguard team just wipes out the opponents from the other guild, and we grab the tile with ease, right? One of the things is nobody really went in on this tile. We went big here. That didn't work out too well there, because then that means everybody kind of went in on this big tile. So we didn't go in as big on it, because again, with everybody kind of being even, we couldn't really afford to go after everything we wanted to go after this round, because it would mean overextending our forces. That's one of the things you do need to worry about, and there could have been a possible alliance that we didn't know about. So just hedging our bets and going big for one tile, but still making a play for the other tile. You know, hey, it wasn't the best case scenario. It wasn't the worst case scenario. It was a mid case scenario. And it's also worth mentioning the other guild, they went kind of a little bit bigger for the middle tile, but again, I don't mind giving up a 100-point tile to gain a 200-point tile, because again, this gives us the access to the entire board, right? And now we're looking at the next round of getting this guy. Now, in the previous match, we went after the treasure hamster in round 4. Here, I thought it spawned early. That was my mistake, so we went after it ahead of schedule, but it actually kind of worked out well for us, right? So what happened was, and then we went after this guy, and just decided to abandon this guy, and then just not give up this one in case this guild attacks right here, right? So we had the big melee here. You know, I wasn't going to worry about trying to grab a 200. I wanted the 250. I wanted the treasure hamster. We probably went for it a little bit earlier, so let's see how this turns out. Alright, so again, because last time maybe Ark thought that we were going to go heavy to defend here, go big for here, and go for this next round. However, we went for it big this round, and we found that with just 40 squads, we were able to beat out almost this entire guild, which is valuable information, which means we can just focus maybe like a few more, because it was close. Again, we barely held this, or barely grabbed it, I should say. So if they went any higher, maybe they could grab it back, but we definitely wanted it for next round for that treasure hamster, right? So we wanted to bulk up here. Again, they didn't go too heavy to grab this tile back, so we just again held it with minimal squads, no change there, which then gives a free tile here. Again, this guild here just kind of decided, it looks like they were going to play for second. Very smart. So they held this tile, they held this tile, and they went for this tile. Nobody made a play for this tile, so you just had this guild hold on to it. There was a play here, but it was very, very light, because I guess they were worried about losing this. Yeah, so we didn't get like a whole lot of action. As you can see, this guild went moderately decent sized. This guild kind of just spread out a little bit too much. So again, it kind of played into our advantage. So yes, while we lost it, the other guild did try to make a play for it just in case, right? Which works out to our advantage, because now if they're playing for second, they need to hold their tiles as much as possible and go after this guild here, right? So now it's kind of become a race between Umbrella and Ark to see who's going to get second, which worked out in our favor, because then they could just fight each other and they wouldn't have the resources to go after us, because again, going after us, they would have to go big, which left them vulnerable to that other guild. Now, we bulked up here for the next round, and we focused here without changing anything here, here, or here. Alright, so we go to the next round. It works out again very well for us. Oh, we hold this. Again, they put minimal after it. Free tile. Nobody really went after this one, and again, we had very, very light here. They went heavy to defend it. Again, they didn't want to lose it to Umbrella, but they did swap, because this guild went heavy to get this tile, because they realized that they couldn't beat our guild, especially if we beefed up, right? So we beefed up to 49, which was more than enough to hold it. We did have a little contest here, but nothing big. I think that was just somebody just trying to go around and grab skirmish points, because they're just trying to build up this. As you can see, they managed to take back second place. Alright, so which kind of sets up the situation for the final round, in that we've kind of pretty much got a lockdown on first at this time. So as always, I like to give everybody the day off, but again, it means we were going to easily hold the treasure hamster and probably hold the center tile, because again, Umbrella couldn't afford to go after this because they would probably need at least a 2-to-1, maybe a 1.5 advantage, which would have been a big reduction to their forces and a very big gamble for them, especially since all they needed to do was defend against potentially Ark here. So let's see how it plays out. So again, Ark just played for second place. They managed to grab all of the other guild's tiles and hold pretty fast, right? As you could see, they just had more power in going after them here, and that's just how it worked out. So they were able to defend everything and grab the tile from the opponent. Now, they did make a play here. I don't know if this was for the best, but they did go big, probably to get this tile back, probably just to hope that they would defend this tile, grab this tile, and that would be enough to give them the win. However, it left them vulnerable. They probably overcommitted to here. And yeah, it just kind of caused them to lose this tile. And as you can see, they ended up losing second place there, right? So they dropped down to third. So we move on. Now, for our side, now we go to the next league, right? So we move on into Exalted, and you guys may be facing this as well, where you've been kind of going against the same guild the past couple matches, right? So one thing going into the next round to consider is just varying up your tactics, maybe mixing things up, going after certain tiles earlier than you might have, go after certain tiles later than you might have, go after like different tiles, that type of thing, overcommit to tiles you wouldn't normally overcommit to, right? Just based on the previous rounds, because again, you don't want to make yourselves predictable, especially if you're going up against the same guild multiple times. They can then use that information to their advantage, but again, if you have that power advantage, it does make it costly for the other guilds to go against you. And again, you can kind of do some pre-scouting, although shortly, about maybe a little like 2 hours or so from this video being made, we should already know who's going to be in there. But again, you can always just go into the rankings, right? Because theoretically, these 4 guilds are Exalted. These 4 are the only legendary guilds at this time. So all 4 of these guilds are going to be most likely put in the same match together, right? So what we can do, again, is we can go here, we can click in, we can scout them out, or we can go into Guild Supremacy, right? And we can just go down the Guild Supremacy rankings. Again, we just look for those guilds, right? And we can go ahead and scout them out. For our side, it's not looking too bad. Again, we're the most powerful. The second one looks to be Ark here. And then we have these other 2 that I think kind of just snuck in. But hey, that's just how it goes. So if they got there, and there were potentially like 1, maybe like 2 other guilds that maybe had a shot to get there that were probably in their match, it means either they had an alliance or they're very, very clever when it comes to play. So that's just something to consider and watch out. Especially now that there could have been alliances in the previous round when you are moving on to your legendary league. So again, that is something to consider. And it's considered that they may break that alliance and forge an alliance with a different guild. So that's it for this one. I wish you a good luck in your next rounds. And hopefully you can get to legendary or exalted by the end of the event. Bye!